Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. Today's episode is for the peacemakers who don't feel peace, for the truth tellers whose voices are shaking, for the ones still hoping they can reach the people they love, even as the divide between them grows. If you've ever whispered, "I know you're a good person, so why can't you see what this is doing to others?" then this episode is for you. Let's go deeper. We often think the worst pain comes from the worst people, but that's not always true. Sometimes the deepest heartbreak comes from the good ones. The ones who once made you feel safe. The ones who raised you with kindness. The ones who taught you how to love. And then they support something that you find cruel. They excuse something violent. They repeat words that hurt others. They vote or post or act in a way that tears you open. And it's confusing, isn't it? Because they're not evil. They're not hateful. They bring you soup when you're sick. They remember your birthday. They laugh at the same movies. They cry during the same songs. They're human. They're loving in so many ways. And that's what makes it so hard. Because how can love coexist with harm? Here's something that I want to say clearly. Most people who cause harm aren't doing it with cruelty in their hearts. They're doing it with blindness in their minds. Blindness that's built from fear disguised as patriotism, loyalty disguised as righteousness, narratives passed down like heirlooms, echo chambers that sound like truth, silence that becomes survival. They're not always choosing hate. They're just not questioning what they've been told. And when love tries to confront that, they often flinch, defend, withdraw, or turn away. Because to see the harm clearly would require a reckoning, a deep and painful confrontation with the self. And many people, well, they just aren't ready for that. But here's the miracle, guys. Some are. And love, real love, has a way of waking people up. You don't change people by shaming them. It'll push them further away. You don't reach them by yelling. You reach them with curiosity instead of condemnation. Clarity instead of confusion. Calm instead of contempt. Presence instead of performance. When someone is blind to their impact, they need more than facts. They need someone they trust to say, "I know who you are. I know your heart. That's why this hurts, because I believe that you wouldn't choose this if you truly saw it." You don't hide the truth. You hold it steady. without using it like a weapon. You become the mirror, the witness, the still point in their storm. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, that's enough to crack the armor. Not immediately and not completely, but enough to plant a thread of doubt, which is the first step toward growth. I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes they won't wake up. Sometimes they'll stay locked in their story. Sometimes they'll choose identity over empathy. And that's a different kind of grief. So let's pause for a moment to name it. Let's honor the heartbreak of watching someone you love cheer for something unjust. Realizing their version of peace excludes others' suffering. Knowing that closeness doesn't always mean shared values. Losing connection not through absence, but through silence. If you've been carrying that pain, you're not alone. But here's what love invites us to do in the face of it. And I said this yesterday. Grieve. Set boundaries. Hold your values. And still, when possible, hold the door open. Not to let harm in, but to let the soul return when it's ready. Because people can change. And sometimes your quiet love was the light that helped them find their way back. Let me tell you a true story. A man who once believed deeply in exclusionary values, who repeated harmful rhetoric in the name of faith, who taught his children fear and division. One day, he sat at his granddaughter's wedding. She was marrying another woman. And as the ceremony unfolded, with music, with joy, with sacred vows, he wept. Not with shame, but with sudden recognition. He turned to his wife and whispered, "This is love. I didn't know, but now I do." It's about got me to tears now. It took decades. It took relationships. It took steady love from the people around him. But he suddenly saw, and the thread rewove itself. Don't underestimate the long arc of grace. If no one's told you this lately, let me say it loud and clear. You are not wasting your time by loving people who've lost their way. You are not naive for believing that people can change. You are not weak for refusing to give up on empathy. Your presence is doing more than you know. You may never see the final bloom, but you're planting seeds in hearts that seemed like stone. Somewhere, someone will one day remember your voice, your patience, your steadiness, and it might be the very thing that calls them back to love. So stay soft, guys. Stay truthful. Stay grounded. You don't have to convince the whole world. Just keep living the truth that you wish that they could see. Because love isn't just a force, it's a frequency. And when you stay on that frequency long enough, others will eventually tune in. I've watched it. I've watched it happen right here. So, what do you do with the people who seem unreachable? You love them without letting them hurt you. You speak truth without venom. You grieve what's broken and protect what's sacred. You keep the door open, but don't wait by it forever. And most of all, you remember this. Love doesn't always change people instantly, but it never stops echoing in the places it touched. You are part of that echo, part of that thread. You are the love that awakens eyes, and I am so grateful that you're here. Until next time, guys, keep loving, keep breathing, keep believing. You are not alone. Not ever. I love you guys very, very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.